listening to The Gender Rebels.
I'm Kathleen, a cis woman and ally.
And I'm Faith, a trans woman.
Gender Rebels is a question and answer podcast that explores life outside the gender binary.
A big thanks to our Patreon supporters.
If you'd like to support the show, go to patreon.com/genderrebels. Hey everyone, I'm Kath.
And I'm Faith.
Hey Faith, do we have any new patrons?
We do.
Yay!
Yay. Guys, today's Gender Rebels episode is going to be brought to you by James B.
James, thank you.
And Amber.
Amber, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for supporting Gender Rebels. Y'all are awesome.
Best. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hey Faith, I got another question.
Yeah, what's your question?
I feel like in the past we have discussed your timeline, your transition timeline. I feel like you mapped out a plan at some point. And I was kind of hoping we could do a check-in and see where you are on that and what you think about that and maybe any misconceptions or assumptions you went into that with.
Okay, yes, definitely.
Yay!
So, transition timelines. I have had many of these.
Wait,
transition
really?
timelines.
Wait, but you only get one.
I know you only get one, but I would sit there. I remember I would sit there on the subway when I'd first moved to New York. I was in my early 20s. And I would have my little black and white marbled composition notebooks because those are what I preferred. Because
they're bound at the edge.
Yeah, I would an hour subway commute, so I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna write ideas in these, and I'll write stories in these, and any sort of thoughts I have, I'll just write. So I don't carry those anymore, but I used to carry them with me all the time.
Do you still have them?
I still have a few of them.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so I would sit. I remember sitting on the train one day and writing out my transition plan and everything and the costs associated with it and all the pros and cons and all the issues and people I'd have to come out to and all that. And then of course those would just get closed up and put back in my bag and get put away. And so this has been a sort of ongoing.
What if someone
thing
found
in my
one?
life. I don't know.
Wow, what if someone on the train saw what you were writing and read for a bit and were like, "You're a freak"? What if?
Yeah, it's New York though.
That's true.
Hardly the freakiest thing on the subway.
Probably the coolest normal
Someone
thing.
writing about transy stuff in a notebook. I don't know why I said it. Someone writing about transy stuff in a notebook.
That's better.
I'm over here trying to eat my meatball sandwich, and all of a sudden I see a clown over here masturbating. There's a guy in a suit shitting on the floor. Someone's got a canoe on the subway car. It's New York. What can you do?
That's true.
Yeah.
You're the good seatmate in that situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So someone cutting their toenails. They don't even have shoes.
With their husband's teeth.
Yep. Welcome to life in New York. So I would have this. I'm looking at today. I was searching for. I'm trying to get my FFS, my facial feminization surgery, and there are quite a number of hoops and letters and forms and paperwork. I have personally, in the course of just getting this one surgery, killed 273 prime pine trees that have been pulped into paper for medical forms and letters and everything else.
Because
faxes.
None of this can be electronic.
No.
God forbid.
And so I was searching through my Google Docs and I found today my most recent transition timeline. Okay. And when I say most recent, I say I came up with this in August of 2015.
Oh wow. That's super
recent. It's almost 5 years ago.
Oh man.
No, 4 years ago. Almost 4 years ago.
Wish I could read your 2008 transition timeline, your 2002 transition timeline. But whatever, we'll go with this.
So
2014.
this was actually around the time I was seriously considering. I've seriously considered transition many times, but this was kind of my most serious because this is the one where I would then in a few months go talk to Kath and make sure my partner was okay with me pursuing this and all this good stuff. So this was a few months before that.
Okay.
And so, not that I was hiding it from you, but it was just that this was this was a regular thing I would do.
You were getting ready.
I was getting ready.
And maybe you'd pull the trigger, maybe you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You were sort of thinking ahead.
And that's something,
okay.
And that's something about coming out to my partner that was tricky because it's not that when people who are LGBTQ don't come out to people. If you're someone in their life that they haven't come out to yet, or that they come out to slowly, it is not ever because they are really hiding something from you or being duplicitous, unless they're like one of those shitty husbands who's cheating on you.
Yeah.
But people who are like not cheating, I'm just going to put in that caveat. It's because it takes people a while to figure this stuff out. Some people know. Some people are ready to come out, in kindergarten or high school or whatever, and other people come out when they're 50. Other people come out when they're 65. Other people come out in their retirement home. It takes everyone time to come out. And for me, it took me a long time. And sitting here writing these plans, be it on Google Docs or in a composition pad, was sort of my process, my way of dealing with this, my way of kind of seriously thinking about things in more concrete terms than just wishing I could transition. So I came up with this in probably July
of 2014?
2015.
2015. Okay.
Yeah, around summer of 2015.
Okay.
So my timeline was, we're going to go through this and see.
All right.
Where did we go? Where did we go through? November 2015. This is the first item, get on hormones.
Get on hormones.
Which I did.
Yay.
As of 11/28/15. So right on the wire.
Just in time.
Just on the wire. We're going to see how accurate this timeline has been. Because this was my most serious. Let's see. So the first one, pretty accurate.
You nailed it.
I've got to say. December 2015, start laser hair removal.
Okay.
That I did.
Yay!
Yay! Now it gets sad. Begin weight loss plan.
All right.
I have not. I have not. I ended up, I did lose a bunch of weight, and then I put it back on, and now I'm like, I want to get it back off.
But you can lose it.
I know I can lose it. It's tricky. I feel like you just hit, it's so cliche, but I feel like I just hit, late 30s, and just, once I quit smoking, it was just, weight became really hard to get off.
I mean, metabolism and cigarettes, these are real things that literally affect that. So,
they are.
That makes sense.
So, set up appointment for alcohol therapy. I have done that. I have dealt. I drank heavily for a long time, and I feel like I have that under control now, and that's something that was good, because that was something that did scare me, and was certainly not healthy. That certainly did contribute to my weight. Yeah,
you're not a teetotaler now, but you've gone dry for several significant blocks of time, and
I know I can be dry.
I think you have it under control,
Yeah, and that's the nice thing.
Yes.
So having a healthy attitude toward alcohol.
Because you were kind of self-medicating before.
I was self-medicating, but it was also just a habit. And this was something that you pointed out. It was like, you're just doing this habitually. You're just you need a beverage in your hand while you're playing your video games, and beer is what you have. And you were like, beverage. Try it with seltzer. And I did. So if you worry you do have an alcohol problem, I would say, talk to a doctor. I ended up having a big health scare with my heart. That definitely jumped me into the let's get healthy quickly sort of thing. So weight, still not. So my goal was to lose 35 pounds. I actually got within, I lost probably about 20 pounds.
All right.
I have put on probably about 15 of that back.
You're still ahead.
I'm still ahead.
Right.
I am still, even at this point, 10 pounds less than my heaviest, but it's not where I quite want to be. But weight is a continual goal.
Yes.
That we keep fighting.
Got it.
So March 2016.
So you're jumping from December 2015 to March 2016.
Yes.
Like something in you decided, here's a bunch of things for December. That's kind of a lot. I'm going to let myself work on that.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
March.
Meet with doctor, ask doctor about propecia, if my hair hasn't filled in at all. This is my hairline. I had a kind of masculine Michael Keaton, Richard Nixon-esque hairline that, I was working on. So I actually went on finasteride in March of 2016. So I did do something.
And I think it's interesting that you say if the hair hasn't filled in at all, because just going on hormones, a lot of people have noticed that particular wonderful, beneficial effect. So good, I'm thinking about going on hormones myself, because a lot of them do start to see reversal in male pattern hair loss.
Some people. I did not. I think that might also be the younger you are.
Oh, it could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So April through September. Continue laser hair removal. Check. Continue weight loss plan. Come out to family. Check.
Check.
Yay. Come out to in-laws. I did not do that.
So come out to family was
my sister
not
and my
nothing,
mom.
right?
Yeah, it wasn't my whole
September.
family. It was just basically my sister and my mom. But come out to in-laws would end up waiting because I was kind of a little more terrified of that. We've had some episodes about that, but ultimately for me, that was really about fearing that I was outing you as someone who is dating a trans person and putting you definitely in that weird category, which I did not want to do. So that took me a while.
That's very sweet of you. And I'll say to you what I think any of our other listeners who are kind of worried about their partners and maybe their partner's family is your partner has thought of that. Like, as soon as you came out to them, they had to picture your life together and what that meant and what the changes would be and what that would mean for maybe your job and the life you share together and pets or kids or finances, your partner has thought about that and has also thought about how are our friends going to react? How is her family going to react? How is my family going to react? And I would say, talk to your partner, see how they feel. I personally wasn't super concerned. And I get what you mean. I get that there's nervousness. It's like double nervousness.
Yeah.
Compared to coming out to your own family.
Yeah, coming out to my family, they already know I'm a weirdo.
Exactly. And you already have whatever status of closeness or distance or whatever, and you know your family, and you go into that with you kind of hope for the best and prepare for the worst kind of thing. Your partner's probably thought that through. So for those of you listening right now who are not sure how your partner's going to react in terms of coming out to their family, talk to your partner. They'll know right off the bat, the people who are going to be super supportive, the people who are there like, that one's a wild card, and the people who this person will say, I love you, do what you want with your life, let's never talk about this again.
Yeah.
Talk to your partner. And I get your concern, and thank you for thinking about me, but honestly, I knew who'd be cool, I knew who wouldn't, or who might not be.
Yeah.
Honestly, no one's been uncool, but people talk about it less in some cases. Yeah. That's about it.
So actually, I had put that as being around probably my first, a little before I actually came out full time. Was coming out to your in-laws. I actually did not come out to your in-laws till probably about 6 months after full time, which is fine.
And that was like May of the year after.
Yeah, so yeah. I had my idea that I would come out to everyone and then come out full time, and it ended up not being like that. I ended up coming out full time first. So I also have the next thing, August and September of 16, and it was like get my name changed and get new documents. That would end up being October, so it was a little, maybe a month or two after this.
So why the bump?
Well, because of the next thing, coming out full time, also planned for August, September. The number one thing was performance review at work and discussion of race.
Get that out of the way before you come out.
So I wanted to absolutely 100% get my performance review under my belt, because if there was any issue with work, I wanted to be able to say, positive performance review. Luckily, I got that. And
how shitty that you have to think like that.
I know, it is shitty, but you want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want it to affect anything. I didn't want it to be a situation where they could give me a shitty performance after I came out. So having that meant some legal protection. So my idea was get that performance review, get my name legally changed, clothing inventory and shopping list.
Oh, I feel like that was put there as a reward for the performance review at work. And
I had all cocktail dresses. I had nothing but cocktail dresses and high heels.
Yeah, but you wanted to buy work clothes.
I did. I had a couple
and sweaters and boots and jeans. You wanted that too.
I did, but I also did kind of need some like plain Jane work outfits. So okay, get my letters, talk to HR, plan on coming out. I have this all for August. So the performance review, get my name legally changed, clothing inventory and shopping list, talk to HR, plan on coming out. So I ended up having to basically push that HR thing to September because I did it like literally 2 days after I got my performance review.
Nice.
And the performance reviews were supposed to be like June, and they ended up being like super late. And can you hold this mic?
So no one thinks about... It's not cool to be like an HR person and just decide to delay performance reviews from June to September, because you never know who is like hinging major life changes on the outcome of that performance review.
Yeah, so I ended up getting that. I talked to HR. I listened to Lord's Bravado a bunch. I'm going to get that tattoo at some point. And it's a song about being brave and dealing with your fears. And so I talked to HR. That was September. And they were like, well, when do you want to come out? And I was like,
oh,
November? So I ended up coming out. I ended up actually coming out full time late November. It was like November 21st was my first day at work. And then because we were hanging out with friends that weekend, I ended up girling up both days. So I think I was on like, I think it was like the Saturday, and I was like, you know, we're walking around hanging out with our friends, and I'm just like, oh, I guess I'm full time now. Like I thought it was going to be for 2 days, but since we're hanging out with this friend who knows me as Faith, and we're hanging out with the other friend who knows me as Faith tomorrow, actually,
and then my job.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess I'm full time.
Here I am.
So surprise, surprise. So that wasn't until November.
Oh my god.
So I have here for October, continue weight loss plan. Get any other problem areas lasered. So I like that. Get any other problem areas lasered. Like I had assumed that all my laser would be done. Which,
except
oh my gosh.
for a few remaining
Except for a few problem areas, which it's not. I got about 8 or 10 sessions of laser, which helped a lot, but...
And she just gestured at her face. So
I'm
she's
doing,
talking about
it's
the beard,
face.
Not anything
I didn't do
else.
anything else, because everything else hormones took care of. But I did, I don't know, I've done 5 sessions of electrolysis, and I hate it so much on my face. I hate it so much that I just sort of stopped. And I was like, I got surgeries and stuff. I'm just going to do this later. No rush.
Yeah.
So I had actually thought like I'd be almost done with hair removal, like less than a year after starting hormones. That would not be the case. That took a lot longer and is in fact still ongoing.
Who could have known?
4 years later. So November 2016 was going to be my 1 year on HRT.
Ooh.
So here's what I was going to do. Evaluate where I am.
Okay.
Easy to do.
Yes.
Do I need hair plugs? If so, start.
If not.
Proceed to, do I need facial feminization surgery? If so, schedule it. If not, proceed to, do I need breast implants? If so, schedule it.
And what are the answers to those questions?
Do I need hair plugs? Yes.
Yes.
That would end up not happening until February of 18.
Oh, more than a year after.
More than a year after that. Facial feminization surgery, like I said, still working on that. It's actually scheduled in a few weeks. 30 days. 30 more days of this
Oh my goodness.
this caveman face, and then we'll go
coming
to...
up.
We'll see. I still have to get... Like I said, I was Googling documents because I'm still working on the paperwork for that. So fingers crossed.
Meaning the get insurance covering it kind of thing.
Do I need breast implants? Breast implants will be November. There'll be plenty of paperwork with that, and I'll deal with that in like September.
Yes.
So in the meantime, I got plenty on my plate. So I have December 2016, 1 year of transition, which is not. That was November of 16.
Just wait, back up.
I also have on here
Plan for full
time in December 2016, which I clearly did not. I went to
like
full
you
time
already were. So what do you think you were thinking when you wrote that down? Like,
I thought that all of this would need to happen, and then I would sort of come out in December.
and so all of
Like
that
I
would
get my
happen,
name legally changed,
work,
which I did in
name,
October.
Clothes, and you're thinking
Yeah.
that would all happen while still presenting mail.
Yeah,
Most of the time,
I think so.
except at work, I guess.
Yeah. No. Presenting mail, I think only at work.
I see.
But
see.
I did say talk to HR. So I think I was maybe thinking like full time would be December.
Okay.
Or maybe I'd start full time in January. So I don't know. But that was a year not even a year. It was like a year of HRT and like just barely starting. So then I have January 2017 schedule SRS, which you really can't do because SRS, they want you to spend at least a year in your preferred gender presenting full time.
Wow.
And I would have only been, per my timeline, out 1 month. So I think I was thinking I think I heard from someone there's like a year waiting list. So I might as well get on it now.
I see. Well, that makes sense.
I did not really do that. I kind of had SRS as like far in the vague future.
Yeah.
And sort of my mind. And then I kind of looked it up kind of on a whim. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, I guess I'll call. Because I heard it takes like months. So I was like, to even get an appointment to go talk to them. And I was like, you know what? I'll just call, make that appointment. And then like I did. And from that time, it's going to be like 2 years until I get the surgery.
Right.
So it is kind of still that like, the fact that I kind of called on a whim of like, guess I'll just, I don't know when I really am going to do this, but I might as well get on the waiting list kind of thing.
Right.
Which is the way to do it.
It
You kind of have to get on. I wish I had done it earlier.
As long as you got all that time to kill anyway, you might as well do it while you're figuring stuff out and testing the waters and blah, blah, blah. You can always reschedule.
So I have this full-time plan.
Full-time plan.
And these check marks I put today.
Oh, okay.
So, schedule FFS and breast augmentation as needed. All right. I started hormones when I was 35 per this list. And when you start at 35, it's not going to do much. Your body's already kind of settled into what it's going to be. When you start at like 15, you might not need breast implants. You might not need FFS. If you're FTM, testosterone's a hell of a drug.
You're good.
You may decide that you want top surgery, but you're not going to need FFS because the bones will grow. You'll get that sort of masculine look from that. But I put as needed. I think I need them. Put in medical leave for recovery time, 3 weeks. Yeah, that's not gonna.
That's not really sufficient?
Not really sufficient. I don't even know what that medical leave was. I think I was planning on getting FFS and breast augmentation in the same surgery.
I think that's what you were thinking.
And I would need 3 weeks of recovery, and that's... No, it's going to be at least 6 weeks. It's going to be like a month for FFS, which I'm actually still not sure if I really need a month, but they said take off a month. They said at least 6 weeks for bottom surgery for GRS. So we'll see how that goes. And then I have come back to work as Faith. So I don't know.
That's interesting that you thought you would have to do surgery, at least the face and the breasts, and then you would go full time.
I think that was kind of my idea maybe when I put this together. I don't quite remember, but I think it might have been my idea was to be on HRT all this time and then get the breast augmentation and the FFS and then just show back up at work, which would have been fun.
I mean, that's one way to do it.
It's one way to do it. I don't know if that would have quite worked for me, but it ended up surgery takes a while to schedule, and even just to get on the waiting list, to get a consultation.
And there's so many variables.
There's so many doctors you have to research. For a lot of these, people are going to need to travel, and so that gets a little screwy. So this part it starts out very accurate, this checklist.
Yeah.
And as it goes on, it gets wilder and wilder and wronger and wronger.
I mean, that makes sense because the early steps are obvious. It's easy to map that out. But it's harder to figure out how long something will take, or if there's a decision involved, or if you need to save up cash or time off work, or if you need to work with insurance. Like, the start date, anyone can just circle that on their calendar. But predicting something 3 steps down the line gets harder to predict accurately.
One thing I'll say for this too is when it comes to surgery and dealing with these things, there's a lot of questions of spoons. And I don't know do you think the spoon thing originally was like for handicapped people?
Chronic pain. Are we misusing it? Are we like stealing their thing to use it just as for like energy in your daily life? That's a good question. Those of you who are listening now, and I know there's some overlap there, who are dealing with chronic pain, let us know if it's okay to use it to describe a general energy level, but it's more than just energy. It's sort of emotional. It's emotional,
yeah. It's emotional, intellectual, and like energy capacity.
And for that reason, I think it's trying to adult in the face of stress and life and an unusual.
I like it. I like it, but
let us know if it's okay to use that. I think it is, but I'm not.
If not, I will come up with something else.
Yes,
I don't have. This surgery stuff takes a lot of emotional energy and intellectual energy and matchsticks. It's a lot of matchsticks.
You could just say spoons.
Spoons. All right. If it's offensive, please correct me. But for the meantime, I'm going to say spoons.
If you notice us never saying spoons again, that's why.
In for a penny, in for a pound, at least for the rest of this episode.
Yes.
So just dealing with this is tricky. Just in this last week, I've had so many calls back and forth with medical people.
Yeah.
Where I've had two doctors who just won't talk to each other and they want me to be the intermediaries. Except it's like the doctor to their staff, to me, to the other doctor's staff, to other doctors. So there's like multiple intermediaries and we're playing telephone and,
anything could go wrong anywhere in that process. Yeah. And the only person who's harmed by something going wrong is you.
And I keep having to fax things back and forth because that's the only way they'll talk.
Oh my God.
Oh, I know. It's so tricky. So these things take energy and they take money. And I've been
patience.
Part of this whole thing is I'm trying to get insurance to pay for this stuff. And that's taking a lot of extra energy. So
if you're listening now and this is in your future, just be patient, expect things to go screwy, and if they need certain paperwork or need certain phone calls or need certain status verifications or whatever they're looking for, just find out exactly what they need, say thank you, and go get it from your doctor or your HR or your psychologist or your insurance. Just, there's a series of hoops to jump through.
And no matter what paperwork you get, there'll always be that situation where they're like, sorry.
Oh.
This actually says... This has parentheses, and it really should be brackets around this. So can you get a new one?
Accept this.
Yeah. And so it's also my fun thing with all these situations is to get the consultation, you need letters from various people, including doctors, therapists, etc., just to get the consultation. And then when you go in for the surgery, they're like, oh, these letters are out of date. You need new letters.
You need a fresh new batch of letters.
And I'm like, just change the date. It's fine.
And nothing's changed.
I have not gone insane in 6 months,
all
okay?
Right, fine. I will get you the letters.
Yeah.
Fine. And in theory, if you're working with people who are at all experienced with working with gender anything, maybe they're used to this. They're like, oh, you didn't need the letter with the date change? Okay, yep, I'll have it for you ready tomorrow, or I'll fax it to you, or whatever they say. Like, hopefully you'll have people who are accustomed to this. If not, can you imagine if you had to teach your psychologist?
I've been lucky. That is
your endocrinologist what the steps were?
That is one very lucky thing that I am super thankful for, is that my insurance covers this stuff. If you cross the right T's and dot the right lowercase J's. But it's also just that I go to Kellen Lord for a lot of this stuff. And Kellen Lord, thankfully, deals with this stuff all the time. They know the right phrasing that works. They know this stuff.
They know how to play the game.
Yeah. And so that's been very helpful.
Yeah.
Just having that. Because if I had to, figure it out on my own, oh my God, I'd be pulling my hair out and then having to pay money to get my hair put back in. And that's expensive. Speaking of, I have all these costs.
Let's hear what costs.
I put laser at $1,500.
Was that a correct estimate?
I would say that's probably about what I spent on laser.
Okay.
And I've probably spent at this point maybe $800 on electrolysis.
Okay.
I know, right? Hair plugs $8,000. I think it was actually $10,000.
It was $10,500.
$10,500. Yeah. Hairline / brow lift $6,500. That was kind of taken up with the hair plugs. Rhinoplasty $7,500.
So that's all going to be
That's just
in the
nose.
FFS.
That's going to be the FFS.
Okay, got it.
Breast augmentation, 5,000. SRS, free.
Free.
That was actually breast augmentation and SRS with my health insurance are covered, thankfully. FFS, I'm working on. I think, knock on wood, pray to all the god and goddesses of all of humanity. I think I'm almost there. So we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see, because I can't afford it.
What did you estimate
without
it would
FFS, 15,000.
15,000.
I think that's actually a little low.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably around 20 or more. Total potential surgery, $20,000 with hair plugs, $28,000. Thankfully, I only had that one. And that was pretty expensive. That's like 5 vacations, so that's some serious shit. But it's made me immensely happy.
It's worth it.
Because I just I've had these moments where it's been a long time. It's been almost a little over a year since I had the plugs in, and my hair is getting longer. It grows about 6 inches a year. And so it's getting that weight now where it'll just sort of hang down instead of doing like just sort of flying up. It's still little floofs, but it's getting that weight now. And so I've had moments which are just the greatest joy to like look in the mirror and just kind of see a girl there, you know, without any sort of wig or makeup.
Yeah, this is just wake up in the morning and hair and messy, and your mascara from yesterday is everywhere.
I'm so bad about that.
Still looking in the mirror like, yeah, there she is.
Yeah, and then we've had a few days that were, we've had a few wind advisories, including one recently. I think that was 60-mile-an-hour gusts, which we're probably on our block 70 mile an hour.
Probably.
I actually had trouble walking up the street, like serious issues walking up the street. And I was like, thank God I don't have wigs.
You hated
wigs. They're so heavy and hot and gross.
Especially on windy days. You hated them so much.
Well, because the wind just makes them look so bad.
Gosh, they were pretty though.
Yeah, they were. It was shampoo hair if it looked perfect. So, yeah, that was my only surgery thus far. I'm working on getting those others, but getting those with insurance. And so hopefully, those will be free with some copays and some other
there's going to be
auxiliary.
And
So definitely. We'll see. And the list of clothing.
Ooh.
Want to hear my list of clothing?
Totally. So, okay. Again, the mindset at the time, you had an entire wardrobe at the time and like 20 cocktail dresses.
Yes, that was basically it.
So this is you making a list of real life, normal girl, everyday clothing to purchase. Go.
Okay, pair of 2-inch black heels.
Of course.
Which I've got. Yes. New sandals. Get in winter on sale.
Smart.
Which I do have. I actually have my really nice sandals that I love that I'm on my 3rd pair of them.
Oh, they're good.
And I keep finding them on eBay or Amazon or online. And
one day
I won't. So I'm so sad. Black ballerina flats. I'm actually on my 2nd pair of those since this came out. Yeah. Sneakers / deck shoes, which I do have. When I was watching Fresh Meat and the character Oregon, who's the
fashion one,
the fashionista kind of girl, she's like the posh girl with crazy clothes, and I loved her outfits and stuff and her style, and I really wanted some like British trainers, like the
yep.
But I could never find any in my size. So sneakers, whatever. They're like, I got like Nikes. Fine. 15 pairs of boy shorts. Yay! Which I do. And then 15 pairs quality girly socks. Yay! Which I actually am at the point where I really need socks. New socks and underwear. Socks. Yep. Yeah. Serious winter coat. Which, yes, I did get.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Which I got a feather one or a down one or whatever. Because I did
not
not
dressed warm enough for winter. And she did this southerner thing where they do like hoodies under a leather jacket, and it's like, no.
Yeah. So I did actually end up getting a decent winter coat, especially a girl winter coat, because I had like a girl trench coat and I had like some other thinner girl coat, but I needed an actual like good girl coat. Additional t-shirts, yes. Got those. Good casual jeans. Really need to still find jeans. I'm so bad because I kept buying Levi's and they're crap.
If anyone has any recommendations for jeans, Faith could use some recommendations. She's having a hard time finding.
I just want the ones that I never have to buy another pair, because that's what jeans are supposed to be.
Nope,
that's what Levi's were like 10 years ago.
Nope, you're buying them to look good instead of to last forever.
Okay, additional waist cincher. I actually stopped as soon as I came out. As soon as I came out full time in November of 16, I stopped wearing waist cinchers like a week later.
Interesting.
When I was wearing them like every day, or might have been a month later. But by the time you're wearing them every day, you're like, fuck this. I'll just sort of have my gut hanging out. People will think I'm pregnant and let me sit down on the subway.
Hey, winner.
Yep. Cashmere sweater. Get on eBay or thrifting. I actually did get some nice sweaters.
But you don't have a cashmere sweater.
I did, but I got rid of it. It was that, like...
the green one.
Greenish one that I never wore.
It was very soft and very ugly.
It was very ugly. So I found some other black ones. I found them at, like, TJ Maxx, and so I went and bought every one they had. And then I went to the other TJ Maxx and bought every one that they had.
And that's
of this
a
one
cashmere
shirt.
blend.
It's like
kind
something.
of a boat neck, long sleeve tunic style.
Yes,
sort of
they have very long sleeves that cover my hands.
Sweater.
And the other problem is they all have to be hand washed, which is a pain in the butt. But anyway, cardigan, which I did. When I first showed up to work, I had like a plaid skirt and like a cardigan and tights and ankle boots. I looked very, very cute.
Sexy librarian.
Yes, and winter boots, which I did buy. Snow boots, rubber snow boots specifically.
Yes,
because it's winter.
That rubber along the bottom that sort of
really does
covers
help.
where the sole meets the top of the boot. That is critical to waterproofing, and it is not attractive, but that is how it has to be.
I got some cute ones. They're like plaid and
yours are
gray.
fine for winter boots
yeah.
that are warm and waterproof, but they are still.
Yeah. So clothing-wise, I succeeded on that count.
Nailed it. Check.
When it comes to the transition timeline, it's helpful. It's very helpful to put together this transition timeline. It did veer a lot, and there's still stuff on here that I need to work on.
Still doing.
But it was helpful to kind of plot out. And you know what I did pretty much get? I pretty much got everything I needed to do.
So this is more like a list, although the timing
was
part,
off. But I am doing
long list.
I am doing or have done almost everything on this list.
That's awesome.
Except I did it kind of in a different order, and some things completely differently than are on the list. But it was a good list.
Definitely,
I think so.
So looking back on it, knowing what you know now, what's the wrongest thing?
I think the wrongest thing was sort of how I planned to come out with my idea of like, I'll be on hormones for this long, and then I'll get all my paperwork together, and then I'll get my FFS and my breast augmentation
and my name,
and then just show up back at work after 3 weeks of recovery and be this gorgeous supermodel chick. And that did not happen. So
for coming out at work, it's more like, get ready to be full-time, talk to HR, work on the name change. And of course, be working on the hormones and everything else.
That's basically what I did.
It. But like those three are the big ones.
I did hormones for about a year. I talked to HR, and then in between the time where I started work, I took about probably 2 months from the time I talked to HR to the time I came out, and that was when I worked on my name change and all of that paperwork. Because that's the fun thing about name change that's not on this. Is I think I was like, and other documents, because I thought that would be super simple. Name change is always more complicated, and there will always be new documents that you're like, my computer still says my boy's name computer, and I don't know how to change that. Like, my hard drive is still like, Matt's computer. My name's not Matt. Never was Matt, but you know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know how to change that. And it's like one of those things that it's like bothersome, but it's not so bothersome that I really want to go put in the effort to fix it.
Yeah. There's still the occasional junk mail too.
Yeah. And I still have this thing where my PayPal account won't let me change my name. And the last time I reached out, I kept doing what they told me. They were like, fax us your driver's license, your name change paperwork. And and I kept doing that, and they didn't. And I finally called them, and they were like, you have to fax us your social security number and your driver's license and your birth certificate and like all this shit.
Nope.
And I was just like, no, it's just not worth it at this point.
It's not worth you stealing my identity.
Yeah.
Go to hell. Yeah.
And so at that point, I was like, fine, PayPal can use my dead name. So there were some things I didn't, like, name change that I didn't really bulk out. And I sort of was maybe a little more optimistic about things. But it was not that far off from reality.
So for someone else who's going to make their timeline, they're thinking about it, is it smarter to just have a list of things and kind of keep, like, deadlines or anything like that out of it?
I would say keep it kind of loose. You know, maybe looser.
Okay.
Keep it looser. Don't go all, like, you know,
dates and minutes and hours and locations.
Timelines. Yeah, don't
GPS
go all like
coordinates.
Don't go all like MBA project management on this.
Okay.
Don't do your tables and your timelines and your list of stakeholders and all that kind of risks and things. Just keep it a little looser. Maybe do a list of everything you think you need and maybe a rough idea of when. But, you know, I had this and I didn't really stick to it that well.
Did it help you focus, though?
I think it did.
Okay, then there's a benefit to that.
Because I also have, like, I'm a sort of anxious, my mind is everywhere kind of person. And if given the opportunity, one of the things I'll do in a situation where there's just so much overwhelming me is to sort of sit and make lists.
Yeah.
And this is so
therapeutic.
This is kind of that project.
That
it's
makes
just
sense.
To sit and kind of make a list.
And it gets your mind around it.
Yeah.
And it gets it all on paper so you're not worried you're going to forget something.
Exactly.
Well, that makes
so
sense.
that's sort of more what this is for me
Yeah.
than it is like a definite you will do this. Oh no, I'm behind. It was more like let's just come up with a way to
This is the process.
Yeah, let's put it down on paper so I have something in front of me to sort of ponder and I'm not thinking about it because it's on the paper. But I don't need to keep thinking about it. It's there.
I've already
the paper
got there.
can think about it.
Exactly. It's out of my head. I'm done. Now
Yeah.
I can think about something else for a little while.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's sort of how I view it. And if that would be helpful to you as a listener, I'm curious as to any of our listeners, if they had timelines and how they managed to stick to it.
Yeah, how's your list? How's your checklist? How's your day planner look? How many things did you have to move around, or did you nail it? Or did you make it a little more loosey-goosey than Faith did, and you were able to sort of make it fit to your schedule? We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, please let us know.
All right,
everyone.
cool. Thank you so much, Faith. That's pretty interesting.
All right.
Glad to hear all the progress you're making.
Well, thank you.
And see all the progress, of course.
Yay. And thank you all for listening.
Thank
And
you. We'll
thank
talk
you all
to you
for
next
supporting the show.
time. Yay.
We have the best listeners on the planet.
Really
do you know?
do. They're the fucking best.
They really are.
All right, we'll talk to you next time,
All right.
guys. Bye.
Bye. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to help us keep making more great content, go to patreon.com/genderrebels,
We have many different levels of support and lots of great rewards.
including Drinks with the Gender Rebels at Stonewall.
Please leave a 5-star review on iTunes. That makes it easier for other people to find us.
And send your questions to questions@genderrebels.com or find us on Twitter @TheGenderRebels.
Music for The Gender Rebels is by Jasper the Colossal. Follow the link down below or download them on iTunes today.
And for all our episodes, visit genderrebels.com.
The Gender Rebels is a Comeback Sync production, copyright 2019. All rights reserved.
And to all you gender rebels out there, keep rebelling.
Bye. Bye.